Say hello to the all-new 2026 Nissan Armada NISMO, the first time the full-size Armada has received the NISMO treatment. But it is not unprecedented because in the rest of the world, places like the Middle East, this vehicle is known as the Patrol, and it is rather legendary. They've sold over 1.9 million, multiple generations, and every time I'm in the Middle East and places like Dubai, when I see a Y62 Patrol NISMO, I always get really excited because they look pretty dang awesome. But we always wondered, would the new Armada, now that it's essentially the same thing as the Y63 Patrol, get the NISMO treatment here in America? And now the answer is yes. We have a NISMO version of the Armada. What exactly does NISMO mean for the Armada? Well, you get a bit more power, retuned suspension, steering, bit louder of an exhaust, and of course visual changes. Has a full new aerodynamic kit. Today we're in the studio with the NISMO Armada getting up close. We're going to check out the exterior, the interior, talk about the changes and how it stacks up to things like the Pro 4X, Platinum Reserve. You now have 3 different personalities at the top of the Armada lineup. Let's start off with the powertrain. So under the hood, all of the Armadas, Patrol, and QX80 have a 3.5-liter direct injected twin turbo V6, the VR35. In the regular Armada, it makes 425 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. But for the NISMO version, they have increased it by 35 horsepower to a total of 460 horsepower and the same 516 pound-feet of torque. Note, that power figure must be achieved running premium gas. So it's a healthy horsepower increase, but it's nothing like the ridiculous Escalade V where they shoved the supercharged V8 into it. It's a more modest power increase. But a fun fact is all the VR family engines, the VR30, the VR35, are related to the VR38 found in the legendary Nissan GTR. So there are some inspirational elements found between these engines, and the potential for the VR twin turbo V6s is pretty high. You have a couple cool little red accents here for the NISMO under the hood. Have a little plaque there on that twin turbo V6. The engine is paired with a 9-speed automatic transmission. Of course, it's all-wheel drive. So that's a quick look at the powertrain of the NISMO Patrol. The next thing is the styling. The first thing you're going to notice is the NISMO visual treatment on the Armada. We actually have a NISMO Z parked right here, also in the stealth gray finish with the red accents, so you can see that family resemblance of the treatment. Up front, we have a much larger front grille. It's functional for more airflow and also looks much more visually imposing with the NISMO logo right up front, and lots of red accents around the grille. On that front splitter, there's a little bit more aggressive, and it's also functional too. So the Armada is a large boxy SUV, so in order to make it still aerodynamically efficient, we have things like an air curtain. So that's functional, that's open. It can direct air through there around the wheel. We have like little canards on the edge of the front splitter too. So visually it looks much more sporty and aggressive, especially with all those red accents, but it has some functional elements too. Now the wheels, these are unique 22-inch wheels developed with Rays. They're forged wheels and they're 5 kilograms lighter per wheel, per corner. So that's a pretty significant decrease. We have this cool black and machine two-tone finish to it, little NISMO logo there. And the tires are a specific compound that's a little bit sportier for the NISMO trim. It's still a all-season tire for this functional large SUV, but just a little bit change in the compound to make them a bit grippier. We also have unique fender flares right here. It's a little bit wider to give it that sporty look. And then continuing around the side, we have another NISMO logo here on that side vent, little red accenting here. Also the red accent goes along the side skirt. Coming around back, here's another cool touch. The Armada here, that gets this anodized red treatment. So the red accenting, especially that anodized red, looks really cool. We'll see more of that on the inside. The red line goes along the side down here to the lower fascia, which also is a bit sportier looking. Have kind of a diffuser look. So unique lower fascia, additional NISMO logo back there. The big Armada lettering with the light bar going across the back. I do like this stealth gray and red two-tone combination, but because of all the red accenting, there are restrictions to the colors that you can order a NISMO Armada in. So with the red, you can either do stealth gray the black. There's also like a mineral white, like a pearl white paint, and then black. So those are your color combinations for the NISMO Armada. They have to restrict it because imagine like, I mean, a blue and red might work, but like green and red, there's some color combos that would not work, especially when we get to the interior. So quick look around the exterior of the Armada NISMO. Very different personality compared to the Pro 4X. That's the off-road one. So you've got the all-terrain tires, a slight lift, right? Very different treatment there. And of course the Platinum Reserve, which is the much more luxurious one, the on-road version. I think the Patrol NISMO is going to look essentially the same thing as this, and I can see some family resemblance to the NISMO treatment for the previous Y62 generation Patrol. Similar, more aggressive, boxy, like lower fascia area. Same thing up front, and of course, all the red accenting. I personally think this is the coolest looking of the Armada generations. The Pro 4X is definitely cool, but this one here with the NISMO treatment really ties in nicely with a little Z right here. And you have total polar opposite ends of the NISMO spectrum, right? This obviously is much more sporty, track capable. I mean, just take a look at those tires, right? This thing is a fun little rocket ship for driving fun. Whereas this one, I mean, you're never gonna have the same dynamics when you're in an Armada because this thing is like twice the size of the little Z right there. But similar ethos, making it sportier. And you might wonder why. Like, why would you make a giant SUV sportier? Isn't that kind of like an oxymoron, right? A contradiction. But no, there's a lot of people who are shopping for full-size SUVs that want that enthusiast flair. They want either the off-road treatment or the sportier treatment. I mean, just look at the Escalade V. That thing, clearly people are willing to pay for an enormous supercharged V8, way more power than you would ever need, but they just want to have it, right? The NISMO treatment, I think, is much more reasonable, right? It's not like there's a massive V8 under the hood. It's still a lot of the shared components, but just adds that sporty flair to it. And it's got credentials too. Give you a quick look at the interior, but this thing has retuned air suspension. So air suspension is standard. They have retuned it to make it a bit sportier. Same thing with the steering. The exhaust is woken up a bit, so it's supposed to be a bit louder down low for cold starts, but not be drony. They don't want it over the top. I keep mentioning Escalade V because that's another full-size, ridiculous, sporty SUV. That thing is borderline too loud. The pops and burbles are a little bit ridiculous. Although, now walking back here, we talk about the exhaust. They actually don't have visual exhaust tips back here. You don't actually see the exhaust on the back of the NISMO Armada. All right, now let's check out the interior. So we've got red accenting, lots of red. The two-tone red suede here on the seats. Let me turn the headlights off so it starts dinging at me. We have the two-tone red quilted seats here, with the suede and then like the leather here, more red stitching. And you have adjustable bolsters, so you can tighten them up if you want to go for a sporty, fun little drive, and then you can relax them if you want to be on a freeway, just commuting or something like that. We also have massage seats equipped. You can see the button right there. And then the NISMO embroidery on the headrest with the red O. So the red accenting is very consistent across the whole vehicle. Fixed side steps there. Let's go ahead and hop in. Inside, we have some other NISMO-specific touches, like the red tachometer with the NISMO logo there, the red marker here in the steering wheel, another NISMO logo here. We've got the paddle shifters and lots of anodized red accents, like on the start-stop button, there across the dashboard. This is all suede with red stitching and like a almost carbon look insert right there. You can see on the door other side too. And then the seats, all the red suede with an interesting quilting pattern and red seat belts. Oh wow, this thing has red seat belts. Second row captain's chairs also have that same design treatment. And then on the center console, we have more red suede matching the seats with stitching, the Armada lettering. The control panel here for your climate and everything, your park, reverse, neutral, drive buttons, that's all shared with the other Armadas. And then the dual 14-inch infotainment cluster display here. We have the digital rear view mirror. Some things that you don't get, though, are going to be ProPilot 2.1. That's only available on like the Platinum Reserve. You can option up there. The Armada NISMO and the Armada Pro 4X do not get that. We also have NISMO-specific aluminum pedals down here. You have the NISMO floor mats too. So plenty of little NISMO touches all over the interior. Second row captain's chairs. We've got the red seatbelts. These are actually pretty cool, red seatbelts. And then even the third row has a little bit of that red suede accenting. So they definitely continue it all the way along. Red stitching back here. So that's going to be the same as the regular Armadas. Captain's chairs, we've got a little console there right in the middle. So what do you think about the NISMO Armada? Again, there is precedence for a NISMO treatment, a sportier version of the Armada because of the rest of world Patrol. We have NISMO versions of the Patrol, and they're really cool to see. And I respect that it's actually gotten some credentials. They've upgraded the power, retuned the steering, the suspension, traction control, a new exhaust, things like that. It's not simply just a visual body kit. No, it's not going to be the same level as a Z NISMO or the GTR NISMO when we had those. But it definitely has enough changes to merit it. And again, people want these sportier SUVs. Which one would you go for? Would you go for the sporty NISMO in the lineup for the Armada, the Pro 4X, the more rugged off-road version, or the more luxurious Platinum Reserve for comfortable on-road driving? Personally, I am most excited for the NISMO Armada. That might be because I've been seeing Patrol NISMOs in the Middle East every time I visit there for work, and they're really, really cool. Like, people modify them. They do all sorts of things with the NISMO version, and it's fun having a different personality to pick from. Now, pricing has not been released or confirmed. No idea. I'm going to guess hopefully around the $75,000 price point, kind of matching, mirroring the Pro 4X, because you have that split personality. Either you go for the off-road one or you go for the NISMO version. So hopefully it's in that kind of $70,000 to $80-ish thousand price point. And I think that would definitely do well because you get a bit more power. You get the fun, sporty touches. It looks pretty cool. Ties in with the rest of the family, can still tow 8,500 pounds. Just imagine this thing with a NISMO GTR or NISMO Z on the back, an open trailer towing along. That would be a pretty cool combination. Head to the track. I guess you could take this on track, but maybe take your GTR or Z on the track. Comment below. What do you think about the new NISMO Armada? This was pretty cool to get to check out. Thanks for watching.